What's happening, my friends? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Mike Masick. Let's talk fashion, aka Remo, hashtag JBT. BVO Boxing TV. Welcome back, my brother. Good to see you. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Box Storian. Today, boxing in the Olympics. So how is everybody doing this Tuesday afternoon? You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Storian. And that's me, your friendly neighborhood Box Storian, coming to your neighborhood, handing out that boxing history. That's right, the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it and can't get enough of it. Our sport, boxing. Tuesday. Getting on up into the week. We got the NBA version of the Final Four starting tonight. With the Indiana Pacers visiting the Boston Celtics. Celtics was my early pick early in the season, by the way. The Western Conference semifinals. Well, the Western Conference finals will begin with the Dallas Mavericks visiting the Minnesota Timberwolves. And we will not have a repeat champion this year because the Denver Nuggets have been eliminated. But this is about boxing. I still can't get over them stripping Usyk like that, man. I'm hearing the man they didn't even get a chance to mail the belt to the man. His belt before they stripped him. Well, he had 3 belts before, and he's got 3 belts now, but he was undisputed, and he's only the 5th person to do it in the 4-belt era in 2 different weight divisions, so they can't strip him of that. You know, he's in the record books for that. They can't take that from him. He joins I think Clarissa Shields, the GOAT, was the first one to do it. And then Bud. And I think Katie Taylor and the Monster did it just about a month apart. Late last year. I think Katie did it in November and the Monster got his second one in December. And now, Alexander Usyk joins him as the 5th one. Yeah, I heard something about that BBO that they're not even going to have boxing in it this year. I read that somewhere yesterday, but they didn't give a reason why or anything. But yeah, I did read something about that. Yeah, BBO said I read somewhere that they are removing boxing from the games. I read yesterday they're not going to have it in the Summer Olympics. I got to do some research on it, but I did hear that. I don't know why. Boxing has been in the games. Boxing was in the 688 BC Olympics. We're going to talk about it. And then the modern era began in 1904, and boxing has been in it every year. A couple times it wasn't because of World War I and World War II. A few years we didn't have it, but they didn't have an Olympics those years at all. Well, they had Olympics in one of those years, but boxing has. But we're going to talk about that once I start about 2:30. But yeah, BBO, I heard something like that too. But I didn't get a reason why. Did you hear anything about why they doing that, BBO? I can't understand that. Boxing has been an integral part of the game, man. You know, we had people like we had that big trilogy in the '60s where Ali in 1960, Joe Frazier in 1964, Foreman in '68. And we had those great United States teams from '76, '80, '84, '88, and '92 wasn't too bad neither. So I just don't understand why they would be removing boxing from it. You know, maybe they're looking at the danger of it or something. I don't know. But yeah, I read something like that yesterday too, though. But it doesn't make any kind of sense to me. But anyway, we got 5 cards of boxing this week. You know, it's a Pro Box week tomorrow, and then Friday we got a card, and we got 3 cards Saturday. Of course, the big one is the rematch between Jack Catterall and I can really say George Catterall and Jack Taylor, but I had it right, Jack Catterall and George Taylor. And the bad thing about that is Jack Catterall should be in the history books as 4-belt undisputed too, but they robbed him of that, man. And now, you know, by the time George Taylor gives the man his rematch, he don't have any belts. I think he dropped 3 of them, and then T.O. took the last one from him. So this is just for bragging rights. And I think these two really don't like each other, because I saw at that last, I think it was the last press conference they had, George Taylor had Jack Catterall around the throat, and that wasn't fake, because I could see he had it right in between his thumb and that last finger, and that's how you grab somebody around the throat. You're not faking when you grab in between like that, man. Yeah, and the guy was in between them trying to pull them apart, so that's going to be an interesting fight. I hope they got a good referee. You know, Josh Taylor is kind of like a dirty fighter anyway. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more in the building. Salute, Bruce Gas. How are you today, bro? Wow, Bruce Gas been putting some content out over there, man. I can't get over the other. I think it was Sunday. He had Tim Weatherspoon and Reggie Sweet Johnson. He had both of those guys on there at the same time Sunday. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. Yeah. Friday's show. And Bruce Gas knows some boxing people. Yeah, when I did the Sonny Liston show Friday, he sent me some information from this guy that had wrote a book on Sonny Liston, right? I watched it 2 times that morning. It really gave me some good stuff, man, to add to the show. Yeah, stuff I hadn't even known about. Yeah, this guy knew them all. Yep. But today is boxing in the Olympics. So let's look at the rest of the week first, while we waiting on 2:30 to get here, and Lonnie Lee and Al Booker and some of the other people to come on in. Of course, today is boxing in the Olympics. Tomorrow is, on Wednesdays I do a show where somebody in the chat has suggested to me. And tomorrow's show will be brought to you by Al Booker. And it's about judges, the criteria they use. We're going to even profile a few judges. And then the criteria they use to judge these fights. And let me say the criteria they're supposed to use. Because some of these decisions, I don't know what they use. And also going to look at some rules, like the Queensberry rules that eliminated a lot of the dangerous stuff back in the old days. They could headbutt and throw you down, stomp you, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And the Queensberry rules came in and eliminated a lot of that stuff. And the Walker Law came in 1920. That's what got rid of the no decision era. But before the Walker Law, fights just went on. I remember Al Booker told me about a fight that went like 110 rounds. But the Walker Law brought the 15 rounds in, and there was no decision. A fight just went on until somebody was knocked out or just couldn't continue anymore. And there was no such thing as a round. A round ended when somebody got knocked down. Then the Walker Law came in. But we're going to talk about all that tomorrow. And Yeah. Let's Talk Fashion will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. also. Thank you, Remo. Oh man, I didn't even check. I wanted to play it today. Too late now. But thank you, Remo. I'll incorporate it into tomorrow's show. Yeah, Let's Talk Fashion will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. We missed it last week. And boxing. Then tomorrow is going to be on judges, and Thursday is going to be on women's boxing, because I always talk about the men, and everything I do is always profiles on men boxing. So tomorrow, Thursday is going to be like a history of women's boxing. We're going to look at some of the women's boxing, former and active. Okay, and then Friday, the profile this week is the Will o' the Wisp, Willie Pep, one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time, and one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Willie Pep had those 4 great fights with Sandy Sadler. The last one was nasty. That's widely thought of as one of the dirtiest fights in history, the 4th fight between Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. And then after their boxing careers, they became best friends. Yep, just like Joe Louis and Max Melling became great friends. Max Melling was the pallbearer at Joe Louis's funeral. Yeah, so you've been in there 4 times, beating the guys, beating each other's brains out. Yeah, I can see how you can earn respect for each other, after that. And then even in these, we're going to look at, today we're going to go all the way back to when the Olympics boxing became a part of the modern Olympics in 1904. And come all the way forward to the last Olympics in 1920. Well, actually, it was in 1921, because the Olympics are always every 4 years on an even year, but the last one was postponed from 1920 to 1921 due to the COVID. COVID stopped a whole lot of stuff. Sports did in its tracks, all of basketball, baseball, hockey. By the time football had began, I think they started out on the regular schedule, but it wasn't nobody at the games, remember? They were playing in front of empty stadiums. That was weird, wasn't it? Yeah, COVID was nasty. Yeah, that was a bad time. Yeah. But, the Olympics, the last one was actually in 2021. And I heard something about this one. They was talking about not having boxing in it or something. But this year is scheduled to begin in July 11th. This year's Summer Olympics is supposed to start July 11th and go through July 30th and go through August 11th. I hope they have boxing. All those young kids from a very young age, they train for the Olympics. Even before they think about a professional career, they're thinking about that Olympic gold medal, man. Just like 1980 team when politics stepped in there and shut the boxers down. Train all your life to go win that Olympic gold medal, and some politician tells you can't go. That's crazy. But that's what happened. I think it was Jimmy Carter was the president, because Russia had invaded Afghanistan. The United States boycotted it. Then, of course, in 1984, it was in the United States. Of course, Russia didn't come. And Cuba, Russia's close ally, didn't send all those great Cuban boxers to LA that year. So both of those Olympics have an asterisk by it. But what's crazy? The United States boycotted the Russian Olympics because they invaded Afghanistan. Then 20 years later, the United States invaded Afghanistan. Crazy, ain't it? Yeah. So we're going to get deep into the Olympics today. All the way back to 1904. That was the first Olympics of the modern era. It was in St. Louis, Missouri. Home of our Showtime, the guy, PASS. St. Louis, Missouri. Yeah. But how's everybody doing this Tuesday afternoon? Beautiful up here in Baltimore, Maryland. In the 70s. I short sleeved it today. Left the old hoodie in the house. Didn't need it. Yeah. We're going to start in about 5 minutes. Just give a few more people time to get into the building. I know they're coming. Lonnie Lee gets off at 2:30. And the reason I wait for 2:30 is because, some of these people are here every day, and they got other obligations where they can't be here before 2:30, like work, you know. And it wouldn't be fair for them to miss so much of the show. Gotta have missed not that much. I start at 2:30 every day. But yeah, we're looking good. 5 cards this week. Most of them I haven't heard about too many of the boxes on them. We always got a card from over there. England, Ireland, Wales. We can count on the card from there every weekend. Yeah, I think I don't know where the Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall card is at. But it's this Saturday. That's the big one. They got a women's card. I think Dina Thorslund is fighting somebody for a couple belts. And another Friday night card. Friday night boxing. Pro Box. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And don't forget, NBA playoff tonight. NHL playoffs going on. They had a game 7 last night. I didn't check on it. But a great time to be a sports fan, man. Wow. And guess what? Next week is June, right? And you know what follows that? July. You know what happens in July? NFL. Go to them training camps. And in another few months, it'll be football again. My Ravens, man, they blew it. They had their best shot last season, man. They had the squad. On paper, but on paper means nothing. You got to transfer it to the field. And they ran into a team called the Kansas City Chiefs. Got stopped in their tracks. But they should be pretty decent. Have another good. We still got Lamar, so. But it's coming up soon. NFL. Yeah. So a great time to be a sports fan. And then we got our sport. Boxing. The greatest sport of them all, like I told you. It's one-on-one, When you get in that ring, you don't get to get tired and somebody come off the bench and give you a rest. You got to keep on going until that bell rings, then you get your rest. And when the next bell rings, you got to get on back out there. And if you can't make it back out there, then you lose. Okay? Yeah, you got your team over there, but when that bell rings, the team gets out. They sit on the outside. They can yell encouragement and instructions to you, but it's just you in there. That's what makes it so great. And that's why we love it and can't get enough of it. Boxing. Greatest sport of them all. And we got some tomorrow. Midweek boxing, pro boxing. I'll be glad when they go there every week. You see some decent fights on pro boxing. Bo Max had some boxers on there a couple times. Had Keyshawn's brother. About time for Keyshawn to get back in there, isn't it? Keyshawn Davis. I think his last fight was against the old guy. What was his name? Pedraza? I think Keyshawn's last fight. Yeah. He stopped him. Keyshawn looked good. That was a good test. Pedraza is a veteran. Seen it all. Pedraza has one of those Oscar resumes, and Keyshawn passed that test with flying colors. So he was in the last Olympics, 2020 Olympics, and I found out that I did not know this. Keyshawn had turned pro when he fought in that Olympics. Yeah, he was a professional because they. I can't put my pen on the head on this. I can't remember the exact date, but they had just started letting professionals go a few years back. When they were letting the professional basketball players go, professional boxers still weren't allowed to go. I thought it was all professionals, but it wasn't. But when Keyshawn fought in the 2020 Olympics, he was actually a professional at that time. Yeah. Oh, is Keyshawn on that card, Remo? Okay. On a Shakur card in July. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't looked at that. Okay. Yeah. So Keyshawn is on the Shakur card in July. And we're going to get ready to get started on this show today. Yeah. And don't forget, tomorrow is the return of Let's Talk Fashion from Remo. Let's get ready to get started on this thing. Boxing in the Olympics. Okay. Let me get my, should have had this thing slide. I got a big slide presentation today. Oh, 50 of them. That's low enough. I learned how to put the slides on using the laptop. I had to use the phone, but now the pictures are much clearer using the laptop. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I couldn't get that JBT commercial that Remo sent me. Before I couldn't get it using the phone, but I think I'm going to be able to do it now because I know how to do it on the laptop. Yep. Soon I'm going to be showing y'all videos and all kinds of stuff on here. But you got to crawl before you walk. Rome wasn't built in a day. So I'm coming slowly. Okay. Anybody coming? Oh, Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. What's up, Ray Patterson? How are you today? See, that's why I wait until 2:30 because I know more of my friends are coming. Bonnie Lee will be here shortly. Oh, 5 or 10 minutes. Yep. It is now 2:29. But salute, Ray Patterson. How are you today? You're a big Shakur fan, Ray Patterson? I guess everybody from New Jersey not a Shakur fan. So. Slick Shakur Stevenson. You know, Shakur don't have a nickname. I wonder why. He don't have a nickname, so I gave him one. Slick Shakur Stevenson. Did everybody catch that show Anne McQueen did last night? And he was looking at, the narrative about Shakur running in the Nakathila fight. I didn't see any running. Nakathila did most of the backing up. But boxing in the Olympics. Okay. Now, boxing is one of the world's oldest sports. It was actually part of the ancient Olympics in Greece, beginning in 688 BC. Now, I started this with 1904 because nobody knows any of the participants or anything that was in the 688 BC Olympics, of course. But anyway, it was in the Olympics way back then. And, the sport has also produced plenty of iconic moments at the modern Olympics, beginning in 1904 in St. Louis, Missouri. And boxing has been a part of every Summer Olympics since 1904, with the exception of 1912. It was in Sweden. And they had a law on the books that banned boxing, okay? And then we didn't get it in 1916 because of World War I, in 1940 and 1944 due to World War II. Now, women didn't start being a part of the Olympics until 2012 in the London Summer Games. And in the Olympics, competitions are organized by weight classes, right? And they've changed over the years. Now, currently, there are 8 weight classes for men and 5 for women. Now, the most gold medals won by any one athlete is 3. And there are 3 people tied with 3. We got Laszlo Papp from Hungary. He won a gold medal in 1948, 1952, and 1956. And we have Teofilo Stevenson from Cuba. He won gold in 1972, 1976, and 1980. And we have Felix Savon, also from Cuba. He won gold in 1992, 1996, and 2000. Okay? Now let's go back to 1904 and look at a few highlights from the Olympic Games. Going to come from 1904 all the way up to 2020. Actually 2021, because of COVID, it was moved back a year. Okay. So 1904 Olympics were in St. Louis, Missouri. This is a pretty good show, too. People here are missing it today. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Now that's guy named Oliver Kirk on the screen. Now, it made its Olympic debut in the modern Olympics. Boxing made its Olympic debut in the modern Olympics in St. Louis, Missouri. And it was not very many competitors because no foreign athletes participated. Okay. In the boxing, it was only, in the overall Olympics, there was only Americans in that one. And the guy on the screen, Oliver McCall, he won gold in the bantamweight division and featherweight division, right? He's the only boxer in history to win 2 gold medals in boxing in 2 different weight divisions, okay, in the same Olympics. Oliver McCall, only one in history. He won in bantamweight and featherweight in the same Olympics, the only boxer to ever accomplish that feat, okay? Let's go to 1908. And those Olympics were in London, England. Now listen to this. No, is this the one? No, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. This is crazy here. Now that's Reginald Snowy Baker on the screen, right? Now he's from Australia. Now you know how those London boxers always get that home kick cooking. They cheat for him over there. And they was cheating way back then. Reginald Snowy Baker of Australia, he was the only non-British boxer to win a medal in the Olympics in England. Only one. All the other medals went to British boxers. He won silver in the middleweight category. And check this out. He lost the gold medal match to a guy named John Douglas. And Baker complained that the referee had not been non-biased. And he had a good reason to believe so. Guess what? The referee was Douglas's father. Isn't that ridiculous? Well, I always say in the Olympics, a fighter and referee in the same match should not even be from the same country. This boxer and the referee was not only from the same country, it was the boxer's father, man. Come on. So the guy probably was justified in complaining about the fight. So yeah, of course, the other guy beat him because his father was refereeing the fight. That's ridiculous. But this guy, Snowy Baker, also competed in the springboard diving and the 4x200 freestyle in the 1908 Olympics. So he was in 3 different events. I don't think he didn't medal in the other events, but he got the silver in boxing. But remember, he went up against the guy whose father was the referee. That's who won the gold medal. Just crazy. Isn't that crazy? And I don't understand how because usually each country's president of the Olympic Committee is in attendance at the Olympics. I don't know how this guy's country even allowed that to happen. You know, they should have complained about that big time to allow this guy's father to referee the fight. I don't understand how they even allowed that to happen. They should have been all over that. Wow. I bet you if he was fighting a boxer from the United States, that wouldn't have happened. That was in 1908, and the next Olympics wasn't until 1920, because remember, as I told you, in 1912 it was in Sweden, and they had a law that banned boxing. Okay, in 1916 there was no Olympics because of World War I was going on at that time. So the next Olympics was in 1920. Okay, this one, that's Bert Snyder on the screen. Now, Bert Snyder, he was born in Cleveland, Ohio, fought in the welterweight division. And when he was 9 years old, his family moved to Montreal, Canada. And he was in a boxing tournament in Canada, but he didn't even realize he was trying out for the Olympics. And he found out he made the Olympics team when he looked at the newspaper one morning. And then he went on to win gold, okay? Didn't even know he was trying out for the Olympic team. He ended up making it. Not only made it, he won the gold medal. Bert Snyder. And that was in Antwerp, Belgium, that Olympics. Oh, okay. Ray says he's not a Shakur fan because he cries too much. Okay. Let's move on to 1924 Olympics, which was in Paris, France. Where is that this year? Isn't that something? 100 years apart. It was in Paris, France in 1924, and this Summer Olympics in 2024 is also scheduled to be in Paris. Wow. But anyway, that's Jackie Fields on the screen now. Now, the featherweight division gold medal fight was between two Americans. Jackie Fields on the screen and this guy, Joseph Salas. Both were from Los Angeles and they were best friends. And Salas recalled what happened before the match. He said they had to dress in the same room. And when the officials knocked on the door, told them it was time for their fight. So they looked at each other and started crying. Then they hugged, and 10 minutes later, they were in the ring, beating the crap out of each other. And Jackie Fields, this guy, he was the one that ended up winning the fight over his best friend, Joseph Salas. And after the Olympics, they went back home to Los Angeles and remained lifelong friends. Isn't that something, though? What's the odds of that? Growing up with a guy as your best friend and then fighting him for a gold medal in the Olympics. Wow. The odds on that have to be astronomical, right? But that happened to these two. 1928, the Olympics were in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, okay? In the Netherlands. These people are missing this good show. That's Hyman Miller on the screen. Now, they had some disputed decisions. Now, he's American. They had a lot of disputed decisions in the Olympics, and it led to brawls outside the ring. And this guy here was in one notable scuffle because he lost a very controversial fight in the first round. And then the U.S. boxing team, because of all these controversial decisions, decided to withdraw all of their fighters from the Olympics. But the president of the U.S. Olympic Committee at the time was Major General Douglas MacArthur. And he refused to let them quit because he said Americans never quit. I know y'all have read about Douglas MacArthur in the history books, war hero from World War I. They wanted to pull the American team out, the coaches did, but MacArthur, the president of the Olympic Committee, wouldn't let them quit. That's what I'm saying. If there had been an American boxer back in that one in 1908 and the guy's British team, the guy's father was refereeing, the Americans wouldn't have let that happen. That wouldn't have happened to an American boxer. Somebody's father refereeing the fight. No way. Not if MacArthur would have been the president of the Olympic Committee. He would have been all over that. But anyway, 1932 Olympics. Yeah, was in Los Angeles, California, back in the United States again. Edward Flynn. American Edward Flynn. The United States only won 2 gold medals in boxing in the Olympics, and Edward Flynn got one of them in the welterweight division. And following the Olympics, he turned professional. And he was trying to raise money to finance his way through dental school. And eventually he became a dentist. And he was remarked on his days as a boxer. He said, I got kind of sick of putting on gloves and hitting some guy in the face when I've got nothing against him. Edward Flynn. He went gold in the welterweight division in 1932. 1936. The 1936 Olympics were in Berlin, Germany. Remember? Those were the Jesse Owens Olympics. But Hitler had to sit up there after he bragged about the Aryan race being so superior and watch this American Negro win 4 gold medals. Hitler was pissed off. And you remember when Max Schmeling lost to Joe Louis Hitler made him join the Nazi army, and Max Schmeling hated the Nazis. So I wonder what he did to those for the Germans that was in the races that when Jesse Owens won those gold medals. They probably suffered for losing to him in front of Hitler in his Olympics in Berlin, Germany. It couldn't have been good for him. Okay. But that's South African lightweight Thomas Hamilton Brown. He lost the first round split decision. And listen to this. This is crazy. This guy lost the first round split decision. But after the fight, they found out one judge had reversed his scorecards and cheated Brown out of the win. Now, Brown was so upset about getting cheated like that, he went out and went on an eating binge and gained all his weight. And then guess what happened? They gave him a do-over. They were going to do the fight over, but because he went on the eating binge and gained all that weight, he missed weight and got disqualified. Because in the amateurs, you don't get a chance to go back and lose the weight and get weight in a second time. You miss weight that first time, you disqualified. And this guy got cheated, and they discovered the judge cheated him. They was going to give him a do-over, and he got upset, went on an eating binge and gained all that weight and missed weight and got disqualified from the fight. Crazy. And remember, 1940, 1944, World War II, there was no Olympics those 2 years. So the Olympics resumed in 1948. Okay? And that's Laszlo Papp in the ring. He's one of the 3 guys with the 3 gold medals. That's the most of any boxer has. Laszlo Papp from Hungary. He was a powerful southpaw. And he made his Olympic debut in 1948 back in London again. Okay? And that's when he won the first of 3 straight Olympic gold medals. He took the middleweight gold medal in 1948. And then he got the junior middleweight gold in 1952. In 1956, he became the first man to win 3 Olympic gold medals. Okay? And remember, it was later accomplished by Cubans Teofilo Stevenson and Felix Savon. And Pat was also the first Soviet bloc fighter to compete professionally. And he once said, "I fight for money, why I'm not greedy. How many steaks can one man eat?" Laszlo Papp, the first man to win 3 Olympic gold medals. Okay. 1952 Olympics were in Helsinki, Poland. Helsinki, Poland. Okay, 1952, Floyd Patterson was 17 years old, one of 11 children from Brooklyn, New York. And he cruised through 4 fights en route to the gold medal match. Then in the gold medal match, he knocked out Vasil Tita in 74 seconds with an uppercut to the chin. And Patterson would later go on to become the youngest heavyweight champion in the world at 21, until Mike Tyson broke that record at age 20. Floyd Patterson, 1952. 1956 Olympics was in Melbourne, Australia. And that's an American there, Pete Rademacher. And he was a soldier from Yakima, Washington. And he fought Soviet Russia's Lev Makin in the gold medal match. Now, the guy he was going up against, Makin, had won all 3 of his fights by knockout or TKO. And he was a favorite heading into the gold medal match against Rademacher. But Rademacher knocked Makin down 50 seconds into the fight. Then he knocked him down 2 more times en route to the decision to win the gold medal. And then he went on to fight Floyd Patterson in his professional debut. And he knocked Patterson down in the 2nd round. But Patterson ended up stopping him in the fourth round. And you know what happened in 1960? In the 1960 Olympics. You know who the highlight is? Cassius Clay won the light heavyweight gold medal in 1960. And that was the beginning of the journey for him. And he was quick-witted and had all the quotes back then, and the gift of gab. Okay. And those Olympics were in Rome, Italy, because after the fight, he was being interviewed by a Russian journalist, and the Russian asked him about segregation in the American South. You know, this was 1960, and Clay replied, "Russian, we got qualified men and women working on that problem. See, we got the biggest and the prettiest cars. We got all the food we can eat in America. And America is the greatest country in the world. And as far as places I can't eat goes, I got lots of places I can't eat. I have more places I can eat than I can." And 4 years later, known as Muhammad Ali, he won his first heavyweight title. Cassius Clay, 1960 in Rome. That was the first of that great trilogy. The second one was in the 60s. Smoking Joe Frazier, that's him. That was later on when he fought Ali in 1970. Flip that in there. Where's everybody at today? Missing this great content. Okay, Joe Frazier, 1964, Tokyo, Japan. Now, listen to this. Joe Frazier wasn't supposed to make the trip to Tokyo for the Olympics, and that was the first Olympic Games in Asia. Joe Frazier he was an alternate, but another fighter suffered a broken knuckle, Buster Mathis. He had to withdraw. Joe Frazier was the replacement. He took full advantage of it. And remember, Joe Frazier was known for his toughness. And in the Olympics, in the semifinal fight, he suffered a broken hand, right? And he didn't tell anybody because he didn't want to get pulled out of the gold medal fight. And he fought the gold medal fight with that broken hand. And he got a decision over West Germany's Hans Huber to win the gold medal. Smoking Joe Frazier with a broken hand. And he was the only American to win gold in that Olympics. As a matter of fact, he was the only American to make it to the gold medal round. Smoking Joe Frazier. And then the final of that great trilogy in the 60s was Big George Foreman in Mexico City, Mexico. There's Big George. He was 18 years. Oh, wait a minute. I went the wrong way. That's behind. Cassius Clay was 18. Looking for 1968, Mexico City, Big George Foreman. Now, at that time of those Olympics, George Foreman was a greenhorn in boxing circles. He had only had 18 amateur fights to that point, okay? Coming out of Houston, Texas. He ended up winning the heavyweight gold medal. And after the Olympic Games, he turned professional. He won his first world title in 1973. And he was in the fight with Muhammad Ali in the famous Rumble in the Jungle in 1974 in Zaire. And he became the oldest man to win a heavyweight title at the age of 45. At that time, that was the oldest man to win any kind of a title, but that record's been broken, but he's still the oldest man to win a heavyweight title at age 45. Big George Foreman, gold medalist in Mexico City, 1968. This is boxing in the Olympics. Okay, we go to 1972. 1972, welterweight Emilio Correa, okay? 19 years old. He also was the Pan American Games champion at welterweight. And he defeated European champion Janos Kajdi 5-0 in a close but unanimous gold medal fight. His son, Emilio Correa Jr., won silver at the Beijing Games 36 years later in 2008. Okay. And also the Munich Games was the debut of Cuban great Teofilo Stevenson. And I'll talk about him in the 1980, when I get to the 1980 Olympics. That was 72. Emilio Correa. Okay. Now we go to 1976. Arguably the greatest United States team ever in the Olympics. And of course, we're going to talk about Sugar Ray Leonard. There's Sugar Ray. Okay. Sugar Ray Leonard was 20 years old. This was in Montreal, Canada, by the way. He was 20 years old, fought in the junior welterweight division from Palmer Park, Maryland. Pulled out a tough 5-0 decision against Cuba's Andres Aldama to win the gold medal. Now, on the way to the gold medal round, Sugar Ray had won all of his fights by 5-0 decisions, and Aldama had won all of his fights by knockout. So it was a classic matchup, boxer puncher. And Sugar Ray won it 5-0. I think he dropped Aldama 2 times, I believe. Okay? And Sugar Ray fought with a picture of his girlfriend and 2-year-old son pinned to his socks. And he was emotional after the fight, and he made the announcement, "This is my last fight. My journey has ended. My dream is fulfilled." But he had to change his mind, because when he returned home, it was all over the newspapers that his girlfriend, his kid's mother, had took him to the local jurisdiction for child support, and they had sued him, and it was all over the newspapers. Gold medalist Sugar Ray Leonard named in child paternity suit, and the endorsements ran away from him. Plus, his mother had had a heart attack. His father was hospitalized, so he had to turn pro, and the rest is history. But he had all intentions of going to school, and he wasn't going to have a professional career. Turned pro, and he won the welterweight world title in 1979, one of the legendary 4 kings, and he was named fighter of the decade for the 1980s. And he held titles in welterweight, middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight. Sugar Ray Leonard, gold medalist, 1976, Montreal, Canada. Now we go to 1980. Hardcore boxing news. What's up, Jay Hardcore? Boxing in the Olympics today. Jay Hardcore in the building. I wonder where everybody is today. Kind of slow. They missing this good show, I know that. I'm not missing. But salute Jay Hardcore. We are talking about boxing in the Olympics. I went all the way back to when the Olympics started in the modern era, back to 1904, right? And I've talked a highlight for each Olympic since then. Now I'm up to 1980. So we got a few more to go. You didn't miss it all. Okay, a few more to go. 1980 Olympics was in Moscow. And of course, the United States didn't attend because they was boycotting Russia because they had invaded Afghanistan. Something the United States did themselves 20 years later, so it was crazy. And of course, in 1984, the Russians and the Cubans didn't come to Los Angeles. So it's like an asterisk by both of those Olympics because the best really didn't compete against the best. But that's Teofilo Stevenson on the screen, okay? He was the second man to win 3 gold medals, one of only 3 to do it, okay? And this was his third one, I believe. In 1980, this is his third one. He became the second man after Hungary's Laszlo Papp to win 3 Olympic gold medals. He was a heavyweight, and he had dominated in Munich in 1972. He also dominated in Montreal. Well, he didn't dominate Montreal because he dominated in Munich and Montreal because I think Leon Spinks was like light heavyweight at that time. So Stevenson was in the heavyweight division. So he dominated those 3 Olympics. Munich in 72, Montreal 76, And this is what we're talking about now, Moscow in 80. Aunt McQueen in the building. What's up, Aunt McQueen? How are you today? Okay. Teofilo Stevenson, legendary Cuban, never turned professional. They almost had him one time. I can't remember whether it was the Bob Father or Don King, but they had offered a whole bunch of money to Cuba to let him turn professional. But then the United States State Department stepped in and stopped it because they didn't want all that money going to the socialist Cuban government, Fidel Castro and all of that. Yeah. Fidel Castro was president from when I was born all the way up to when he died in the 2016, 15, something like that. Yeah. They don't have elections down there in Cuba. Fidel said, I'm president. And that's it. Okay. Nobody had no say in it. But anyway, yeah. Teofilo never turned professional. And in the Olympics in Moscow was the first time that he failed to knock somebody out in an Olympics, okay? Congress Isvan Levy eluded the powerful Cuban throughout their semifinal fight, but Stevenson still won by decision. But guess what? Up to that point, this was his third Olympics. He had won every fight by knockout. Up to the semifinals in his third Olympics. Bad man, okay? And in the finals, he beat Soviet Peter Zayev by a 4-1 decision. So one judge gave it to Zayev because, you have 5 judges in the Olympics. Okay. Okay. Teofilo Stevenson. Okay, the next Olympic was 1984. Another pretty good, well, not pretty good, another great American team. 1984. Okay. Pernell Whitaker, Amanda Holyfield, Mark Breland, Steve McCrory, a few more. I can't name them all, but another great Olympic team. They were all part of that night of gold at the Garden in 84. They all turned professional. They all made their professional debuts on the same night. Now, Holyfield got cheated. I went backwards. There's Teofilo Stevenson. Holyfield should be next. There's Evander Holyfield. Now, he got cheated, okay? And he was fighting a guy. Now, this should never happen. He was fighting a guy. Yeah, 84 was in Los Angeles, who was from the same country that the referee was from. Now, there's enough referees in amateur boxing where that shouldn't happen. And remember, I was telling you about the one in 1908, where the referee and the guy was not only from the same country, but it was the guy's father. That was in England. You know how they carried over there. The home cooking is big time in England. But I don't know how that guy, wherever he was from, had his country Olympic committee let that guy, his opponent's father, referee that fight. That would have never happened to an American boxer. No way. It would have been all over that. But anyway, Holyfield got cheated because the referee, Holyfield started his punch. Then the referee hollered, stop. And Holyfield's punch was almost to the man's head, and he hit him, and the referee disqualified him. But remember, he was from the same country as the other guy, too. So Holyfield got silver, I believe, yeah. I think that was the gold medal fight. And he was fighting at light heavyweight at that point. And the result was protested rigorously by the United States Olympic Committee, but unsuccessfully. He got bronze. That was in one of the semifinals, I guess. He got bronze. But check this out. The eventual gold medalist, Anton Josipovic, I got that right. Anton Josipovic from Yugoslavia was standing on top of the podium, right? You know how the other two gold and bronze and silver stand beside him. He pulled Holyfield up to the top of the podium with him because everybody knew that Holyfield should have had that gold medal, right? The actual gold medalist pulled Holyfield up to the top of the podium. Okay, that was in 1984. In 1988, the Olympics was in Seoul, South Korea. And they hard on Americans in the international competition because we had another American get cheated in that one by the name of Roy Jones Jr. You remember Floyd a few years later? Yeah. So there was some cheating in this one too. I'll tell you about it. This was Seoul, South Korea, 1988. Now Bedlam broke out in this Olympics. Now see that guy sitting there. His name is Bijan Young. Okay, he lost a disputed preliminary fight, and his coach and assistant, joined by a group of fans, rushed into the ring and beat up the referee, Keith Walker of New Zealand, who had penalized beyond 2 points for headbutting. They beat the referee up. They should have beat that one up that cheated Holyfield in '84. Anyway, but it wasn't. It was in the United States too. Anyway, Young staged a 67-minute sit-down protest. That's what he did. He didn't allow any more fights to go on for a whole hour and 7 minutes. He just sit in the ring and wouldn't move. and another South Korean had done that a few years before. His lasted 51 minutes. So he broke the record. He's sitting there for 67 minutes, an hour and 7 minutes in the ring in protest. Okay. And he turned professional. In 1993, he won the WBC bantamweight title. Yeah, but that's him sitting in the ring. Ain't nobody else fighting in this ring today, but they got him out of there eventually. Then in 1992, that's Roy Jones. He got cheated too. He won a wide decision over, again, a South Korean in Korea with a South Korean referee. You know, that shouldn't happen, especially in the Olympics. There's enough amateur referees where no referee should be from the same country as one of the fighters, and the fight is refereeing. Especially not his father. Come on, man. like they did in England in 1908. But they believe in the home cooking over there. Now, 1992 was Barcelona. That was the one where Oscar went gold. There's Oscar. Okay. Oscar De La Hoya won America's only gold medal in 1992 in Barcelona. And that launched his brilliant professional career, where he won multiple world titles. Now, Oscar was a Mexican-American from LA. We all know that. He dedicated his Olympic gold medal to his mother, who had recently died of cancer just 2 years before those Olympics. And Oscar was raised on the sweet side. His grandfather, Vicente, was an amateur featherweight in Durango, Mexico. And Oscar's father, Joel, was a professional lightweight in Durango during the 1960s. Yeah, so Oscar was raised on the sweet side. Oscar De La Hoya went gold in 1992, Barcelona, Spain. Yeah. Yeah, BBO says, King Oscar, my favorite. Lonnie Lee, hashtag JBT. I'm glad he ain't fighting now, BBO. Wow. The Salute BBO Boxing TV has made his return to CAD Sports. Told you he was welcome back. Families have disputes. Lonnie Lee, hashtag JBT is in the building. What's up, Lonnie? Wow, you real late, Lonnie. What you do, some overtime today? We done came all the way up to 1996. We started in 1904, Lonnie. I waited till 2:30 for you. But Lonnie Lee is now in the building. Salute. King Oscar from BBO. Okay. Let's move on to 1996. Atlanta, Georgia, USA. We got David Reed. That's David Reed, okay? He was the only one to win. So the United States was getting kind of slack in gold medals then. Oscar was the only American to win gold in 92. And Davy Reed was the only American to win gold in 96. He was the only one that made it to the gold medal round. But he got gold at bantamweight. And guess what? He was trailing 15-5 in the last round. Looked like it wasn't going to be any Americans to go gold in that Olympics in the United States in Atlanta. But with 36 seconds into the third round, he avoided a right hook from Cuban Alfredo de Verge and countered with his own right hook. Sent de Verge to the canvas for the countout. The instant victory prompted a congratulatory hug from a famous observer, Muhammad Ali. Remember, he lit the Olympic torch that year? And Ali whispered in Reed's ear, "You're a bad boy." Okay? And remember, when Ali lit that torch, Joe Frazier's son said he was with his father watching it. And Joe Frazier said if he was there, he would push Ali's ass on in there. So Joe Frazier was still bitter from all the insults Ali hurled at him doing their 3 encounters in the 70s. Yeah, Ali was, he went overboard. Like Ryan Garcia doing now with all the stuff he like talking about Devin's mother and Earl's girlfriend. That's what Ali was doing. Like BVO said, Ryan Garcia pulled the Ali, and he's still pulling the Ali BVO. Remember you said he played crazy before the Devin fight? And he's still doing it because Ali did Frazier dirty, all the stuff he was saying to him man, back then. And yeah, Marvin said when Joe Frazier saw Ali like that torch, he said he would have pushed his ass on in there if he was there. Yeah. It was bad. Ali definitely went overboard on the insults against Joe Frazier back then, no doubt. Okay, 2000. Into the first Olympics in the new millennium was in Sydney, Australia. 2000. Who do we have? Oh, no. Okay, this is the third man, Felix Savon. This is the third man to win 3 gold medals in Olympic history. He was 33 years old at that time because Cubans just wasn't turning professional at that time. Okay, it just wasn't. Yeah, Ryan sure is. Yeah, BVO, he did. He never got over that. Now, they made appearances together and everything, but that was just for appearances because Joe Frazier really didn't like Ali, man. And he had good reason not to like him because it was bad. He talked about the man's family. He called him a gorilla. And he had a little gorilla he carried around with him, and he said that was Joe Frazier. You know, especially the Thriller in Manila. He called it, "I'm going to beat the gorilla in the Thriller in Manila." He had a little gorilla, and he would beat on him. A little black gorilla. He would beat on it all the time, and he called that Joe Frazier. And that wasn't the worst of it. So you're right, BBO. Joe Frazier died bitter about that situation. Yes, no doubt. But that's Laszlo Pep from Cuba. He won the gold medal in he won the gold medal in 2000. And was that his third one? Yeah, that was his third one. And that made him the third man in history to win 3. And that's the most. Laszlo Pep from Hungary, fellow Cuban Teofilo Stevenson, and Felix Pep. He was 33 at the time. You know, he should have been pro long ago, but, you know, Fidel Castro just didn't allow it. And yeah, Teofilo and Laszlo Pep. And he had dominated for like 15 years. And he beat American Michael Bennett 18-3 in the second round fight. That one was much anticipated. And in the final fight, he survived a cut on his left eye. And that cemented him into Olympic immortality with that third gold medal. Yep, Laszlo Pep. Legendary Cuban amateur fighter. Right up there with Teofilo Stevenson. Yeah. Surprised we don't hear more about Laszlo Pep. He was a bad boy. Okay, then we go to 2004. Athens, Greece, where the original Olympics took place way back in 688 BC. Andre, SOG, got his gold medal in that one. Now, let's see. Yeah. Now, see, that was a bad stretch because the United States won one in 92, won one in 96, didn't win any in 2000. Okay. And after being shut out in 2000, there were no major expectations for U.S. boxing entering the games in Athens in 2004. But light heavyweight Andre Ward, he got the gold medal. He was 20 years old at the time, from Oakland, California. And he vowed before he went to those Olympics, no silver, no bronze. And he beat 6'6" Russian world champion Yevgeny Makarenko. That's right, Yevgeny Makarenko. In the quarterfinals, and Makarenko was favored in the light heavyweight division. Andre took him out way back in the quarterfinals. And Andre or Makarenko had not lost an amateur fight in 5 years. And Andre confused Makarenko by switching from southpaw to right-handed, back and forth between southpaw and orthodox on it. And then in the semifinals, he won a close 17-15 decision over this guy from Uzbekistan. I'm not even going to attempt his name. That was in the semifinals. And he came from behind. He was behind entering the third round in the gold medal fight against Magomed of Belarus to take the gold medal. Andre had to come from behind, but he did it. Andre Ward, gold medalist in Beijing. Wait, wrong one. Athens, Greece, 2004, SOG. The next one was in Beijing, China, in 2008. Okay? And that's Roshe Warren. Okay? Well, he tried to apologize to him, BBO, but yeah, that was a lot to apologize. Oh yeah, Michael Johnson. I remember that, BBO. He had those gold shoes on, the runner. Yeah, Michael Johnson. Yeah, Michael Johnson was bad, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame Joe for not accepting that apology, man. Some things you just can't apologize away, man. Ali just went overboard with that, man. Just like Ryan trying to apologize to somebody to talk about their mother. But you're right, BBO. Ryan Garcia is trying to take a page out of Ali's book. All those antics he's doing now. And plus, we get to find out about their test tomorrow. It's Wednesday. The big day. But anyway, 2008, Beijing, China. Roshe Warren. Now this Olympics was riddled with controversy again. Now this was Roshe Warren. That's him on the screen. This was his second Olympics, and he entered as a favorite to win the flyweight division. Was it flyweight? Yeah, flyweight division. Okay. Now in his first fight, he thought he was well ahead on points. He spent the majority of the final round avoiding contact. And the judges gave the match to Korean Lee Ok-sung. Yep. So he didn't get it. And also, Chinese light heavyweight. Well, I thought it was going to be Zhilei Zhang. It's another Zhang. He took home gold. That's why I read that. I thought it was going to be Zhilei Zhang. But yeah, Roshe Warren lost in a controversial fight. He thought he was ahead, and then he spent the third round avoiding contact. And the judges voted against him. Never take your foot off the gas, son. I don't care how far you think you hit. Especially an American in those international competitions because they're looking for a reason to take it from you. And you gave it to him. He should have known better, man. Just look at Floyd, Roy Jones, Evander Holyfield. Yeah. You can never take your foot off the gas. Okay, 2012. We're up to 2012 now. This is the first year that they let women compete in boxing in the Olympics, right? You know who won gold that year? Give y'all one guess. The GOAT. It was back in London again. In a milestone year for Olympic boxing, women competitions were added to the program for the first time ever, allowing new stars to be born. Among them was 17-year-old American, the GOAT, Clarissa Shields, who won the women's middleweight division and became the youngest Olympic boxing champion since 1924. Also, Ireland's Katie Taylor earned gold in the lightweight division. And she was one of the most popular fighters in the tournament. Of course, it's in London. She's from Ireland. She had a boisterous crowd cheering her on during every fight. Also, Great Britain's Nicola Adams won the other women's division, flyweight. The women only had 3 divisions. I think they got 5 now, but they started out with 3, middleweight, lightweight, and flyweight. And Nicola Adams from Great Britain won the 3rd one. Okay, flyweight. And along with the men's division, she was one of 3 British fighters overall to earn gold on home turf. And Great Britain's 3 gold medals led all countries. Probably cheated in at least one of them. You know, they get the home cooking over there, man, big time. 2016 Rio in Brazil. Y'all know who that is? He won gold in his home country. What's his first name? Robson Conceição. He didn't get robbed. Because all of his title matches in the professional ranks, he's been robbed. Robson got robbed against Valdez, Sweet T Valdez, and Robson got robbed against Navarrete. Remember the draw? But they gave him the gold in the Olympics. He was in Brazil. If he wasn't in Brazil, he probably would have got robbed again, I guess. But he was in his home country, Brazil. The Rio Games brought 2 notable changes. This was the first year when professional boxers became eligible to compete at the Olympics for the first time ever. And the headgear requirement was dropped for men for the first time since 1980. Now, the women still had to wear the headgear. And after winning gold in London, American star Clarissa Shields successfully defended her women's middleweight title. She went gold again, and then she turned professional later that year. And in the men's lightweight division, Brazil's Robson Conceição captured the gold on his home turf. He beat Francis Sofiane Wimia, I guess, to become the first Brazilian to ever win an Olympic boxing gold medal. Robson Conceição, and it happened in Brazil. Wow. Good job, Robson. Okay. And then finally, 2020 was the last Olympics. But it was actually in 2021, remember, because of COVID. Yeah. And look at this. This is what's going on? It's Keyshawn and Andy in their last encounter in the amateurs. Jay says looking like Alicia Baumgartner. Oh, the GOAT on that picture? But there's Keyshawn and Andy, y'all. You talking about this one, Jay? Yeah, a little. Yeah, I can see that. What you saying? Yeah. But there's Keyshawn and Andy in their last encounter in the Olympics. And I didn't know this, but Keyshawn was actually a professional at that time. Because remember, professionals had been allowed to go in 2016. I did not know that. And that's, like I said, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Tokyo Olympics took place in 2021, 1 year later than usual. Now, Duke Reagan and Keyshawn Davis became the first professional boxers to win Olympic medals. I did not know Keyshawn had turned professional at that point. Wow. And they both got silver for the United States. Along with Richard Torres Jr. also got silver, but he was still an amateur at the time. He turned professional a few months later. Okay. And the U.S. men's Olympic boxing team had their most successful Olympics since Andre Ward went gold in 2004. Now, the men's dominant nation in the Olympics, however, was Cuba, who won gold in 4 of the 8 weight classes that men had at that time. One of those 4 was Andy in that fight right there. Remember, Keyshawn got the silver. That was their last encounter. I'm looking forward to the next one between them two. You know, that's going to be the biggie in the pros. Yeah. Okay. So now, since we got a little time, I'm going to look at some boxers that won medals in the Olympics and went on to become standout professional boxers. Okay, let me get that up for y'all. I don't know where everybody's at today. It's crazy. Where's everybody? Oh shoot. Here we go. Let me get that up for you. 16 likes. I was hoping I'd get 40 today. 34 is my record. Okay, we're gonna now talk about some fighters that won medals in the Olympics and went on to become standout professionals. Okay, here we go. Now, first, now. When Cassius Clay left Rome in 1960 as the Olympic gold medalist at light heavyweight, he was already a household name in the United States. And when Ray Leonard won gold in Montreal in 1976, it launched his legendary professional career. Now, Ali and Leonard are just 2 of the many boxing greats who launched their careers at the Olympic Games. Just 2 of the many, okay? Here are some other great boxers that launched their careers at the Olympics before we look at a few profiles of a few. Oscar De La Hoya, Meldrick Taylor, Yvonne Calderon, Daniel Zaragoza, Andre Ward, Miguel Cotto, Vladimir Klitschko, Michael Spinks, Floyd Patterson, Virgil Hill, Mark Breland, Antonio Tarver. These are all fighters that won gold at the Olympics and went on to become professional standouts. Michael Carbajal, Brian Viloria, Vernon Forrest, Jermaine Taylor, Fernando Vargas, Frank Tate, not necessarily gold, but they medaled at the Olympics. John Molina, Joe Casamayor, David Diaz, Riddick Bowe, Vasily Giroud, Ray Mercer, Chris Bird, Ingemar Johansson, Leon Spinks, Abner Morris, Juan Manuel Lopez, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Gennady Golovkin. Okay, now let's take a look at some guys that are some of the big names, you know, like Lennox Lewis. Okay, like the great Lennox Lewis. He launched his career with an Olympic gold medal. He beat Riddick Bowe, remember? And we was looking forward to that fight in the professional ranks because they both started out doing great in the pros, and it just never happened. First, Riddick Bowe won on a 90-10 split. Now, why would Lennox take 10%? He was the one that won the gold medal, remember? Riddick, you lost. Why would that man take 10%? Then he threw the belt in the trash. Riddick just didn't want to fight Lennox. He must have saw something in that gold medal match. I don't know if they had fought any other times in the amateurs. Not sure. But Lennox Lewis, okay? Now, he won a gold medal for Canada at the 1988 Games he stopped Riddick Bowe, as a matter of fact, in the gold medal fight. So why would he take the 10%? Now, it should have been the opening volley in a classic heavyweight rivalry, just talking about, that would carry on to the professional ranks. But however, it never came to pass. Now, the decade of the 1990s was the greatest in heavyweight history, aside from the 70s. Okay? But people that lived through it, you can always think about how much better it could have been if Bowe had been willing to fight Lewis. Okay? But as it turned out, Lewis would have to rate as the best big man of that golden era. Okay, a little bit. I have him a little bit in front of Evander. Had to put Lennox first, you know. But if Holyfield, he did good at heavyweight, but I think Holyfield was better at cruiserweight. He was like unstoppable at cruiserweight. Yeah. But Lennox Lewis, another one that launched their career, he got cheated in the Olympics. He ended up with the bronze medal with Evander Holyfield. Remember? In the semifinals, you know, the referee, the man had started this punch almost to the man's head, and then the referee gonna holler stop and disqualify him when he hit the man. And of course, the referee and the guy he was fighting from the same country. That's crazy. Then, like I told you, the guy on top of the podium with the gold medal, Evander on the side below him with the bronze, the guy pulls Evander Holyfield up there with him because he knew who should have had that gold medal. And Evander was a member of that legendary 1984 U.S. team, okay, in Los Angeles. Like I say, he won the bronze. He turned pro after the Olympics. And he first won the WBA cruiserweight title from Dwight Muhammad Qawi. And it was only his 12th fight. Okay. And he went on to become undisputed at cruiserweight. I think it was 3 belts then. The WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. Okay. And probably the greatest cruiserweight ever was Evander. And he also captured the heavyweight crown. Took it from Buster Douglas in October 1990. And Evander is the only man to win versions of the heavyweight title 4 different times. Evander Holyfield launched his career in the Olympics. And so did Wilfredo Gomez. He won an Olympic medal. Yeah. Wilfredo Gomez was in the Olympics in 1972. He represented Puerto Rico, and that was in Munich, Germany. Now, he got a first round bye. Okay. And he was clearly designed for the professional ranks, the way he fought. Okay. In his first professional fight, he had a draw. Then he won his next 32 fights by knockout, okay? First fight in the pros, he had a draw, then he won his next 32 by knockout, winning the 122-pound title along the way. And his first loss didn't even come at bantamweight, weight 40. He had moved up to featherweight, and he lost that fight against the legendary Salvador Sanchez. But he later won titles at featherweight and super featherweight. But by that time, Salvador Sanchez had that accident and passed away, so they never had a rematch. Smoking Joe Frazier, 1964. Remember that? 1960 Ali, 1964 Smoking Joe Frazier, and 1968 Big George Foreman. Yeah. Now Joe won gold at the Tokyo Games in 1964. And remember the story now. He wasn't even supposed to be on the team, but Buster Mathis had a broken knuckle, so Joe replaced him. And then in the semifinals, Joe Frazier broke his hand, but he won, and he didn't tell nobody because he knew they would have pulled him out of the final match. And he fought the gold medal fight with a broken hand and won it. smoking Joe Frazier. Yeah. Then he turned professional in 1965. And by the late 60s, he was still undefeated, and he was recognized as the world champion. Now, Muhammad Ali didn't lose the belt in the ring because he had sat on the sideline with that indefinite suspension, so he was the unofficial champion. But they did meet in March 71. You know what happened? Fight of the century. Frazier threw the most famous left hook in history, put Ali on the deck, and took the 15th round decision. Yep. And then came that debacle with George Foreman when he went down 6 times in 2 rounds. And then the Thriller in Manila with Ali. They had another fight too. The second fight, Ali won the last 2. Thriller in Manila was probably might have been the greatest fight in boxing history. Okay. In 1968, Big George Foreman. There he is. Of course, Big George won it in Mexico City. And at the time, George won that gold medal. Remember, he only had 18 amateur fights at that time. Yep. Out of Houston, Texas. It went there with 18 professional fights against Cubans that was almost 30 years old with hundreds of amateur fights. And Big George came out with the Olympic gold medal. I wish Teofilo Stevenson would have been in that one. That would have been something. Him and George Foreman. I don't think no 18-year-old, somebody with 18 fights was going to beat Teofilo, though. So George probably lucky Teofilo Stevenson wasn't in that one. But as a professional, George was one of the most dangerous punchers in the history of the heavyweight division. But I was just telling you about, he took the title from Joe Frazier, when he knocked him down there 6 times. Then he had the historic fight with Muhammad Ali and Zaire. And then, after he got that upset loss to Jimmy Young in 77, he retired. And he came back in 87, and remember, he became the oldest man to win the heavyweight title and still holds that record. He was the oldest champion in boxing until B-Hop passed him, but George Foreman is still the oldest man to win the heavyweight title to this day. Big George. He beat Michael Moore, I believe it was 1994, at 45 years old. Yep. Big George. Let's take a look at Sweet Pea. Part of that great, arguably one of the greatest US teams ever, 84. Part of that night of gold I was talking about, where you had like 6 guys. I don't know if it was that many, but all the guys that won gold medals in the 84 Olympics made their professional debut on the same night in the Garden. They called it a night of gold. I think it might have been 4. Whitaker, Mark Breland, Steve McCrory, and there was a guy from the smaller weight class. I can't remember his name. I got it written down somewhere. And he's widely thought of as the greatest defensive fighter. Well, definitely the greatest defensive fighter of his generation, and thought of as all time, arguably, along with, I would say, between him, Floyd, and Willie Pep. Okay. He was a 4-division world champion and 3-belt undisputed at lightweight. We didn't have the WBO yet at that time. Okay. But he had the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC. Yeah, he sure did. And he was on the receiving end of 2 of the worst decisions of the past 30 years. 1988, he lost by split decision to Jose Luis Ramirez, and he won the rematch a year later. And the fights looked the same to me. In the rematch, they gave Sweet Pea a unanimous decision. In the first fight, they gave Ramirez a split decision. So I don't know what those judges were doing. We're going to talk about the criteria tomorrow that judges use to judge fights, supposed to use to judge fights, because some of these decisions, I really don't know what they use, to tell you the truth. And then he was got that draw with Julio Cesar Chavez when he clearly washed him, right? And I've watched the one against Chavez, I don't know how many times, man. And I see Whitaker winning by domination every time I watch it. And that fight against Oscar, I don't know. That was close. You can't really call that one a robbery, but If I was a judge, I would have gave it to Whitaker. Tragically got hit by a car and lost his life. Legendary Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Okay, another guy that launched his career was cheated in the Olympics. Floyd Mayweather. I remember his Olympic fight. He was cheated so bad. You know, the referee standing there holding both their arms when the ring announcer was announcing the winner. He said, and the winner is, and the referee started raising Floyd's arm up. And he had to put it back down when the ring announcer said the other guy. But the referee, he in there with him. He should know more than anybody. The man said, and the winner is, the referee started raising Floyd's arm up, man. And they said the other guy, that was crazy, man. That was one of the biggest robberies in Olympic, professional, any kind of boxing history. That fight right there was ridiculous, man. And he ended up with the bronze medal because that was a semifinal match when that happened. Yeah, BN Boxing News. BN Boxing News says Pernell is best defensive ever. Yeah, he definitely one of the best anyway, and arguably the best. You can make a very good argument for Pernell. You know, anybody that call him the best, you can't be mad at it because the man was bad. He could stand right up in the pocket and not get hit, man. You know, right there in front of you, and duck the punches. But salute to BN Boxing News in the building. I don't know where everybody been, man. This was a great show. But okay, we're talking about Floyd got cheated. That was one of the biggest robberies in amateur, Olympic, professional, any kind of boxing history. I told you the referee started to raise his arm up. And he was the one right there in the ring with him watching the fight, refereeing the fight. He know who won. But I told you they are hard on those American boxers in those international competitions. And that was 1996. I can't remember where that was at now. Korea, South Korea, I don't know. Overseas somewhere. But Atlanta. That was in Atlanta. He got cheated in Atlanta. Wow. Yeah, in the semifinals, he got the bronze medal, came in third. Yeah. Very controversial fight. But people that saw it, they knew they were watching a potential future superstar at the time. And Floyd turned professional later that year. Okay. And at the time of that, he got cheated in those Olympics after the fight. He said he never wanted that feeling of losing again. And he never did. He never did. I heard Floyd say it. They was interviewing after the fight, and he said it was so disappointing and hurt. He never wanted to feel that type of feeling of losing again, and the man never did. Okay, he just didn't. One of the top defensive fighters, and the best of his generation. I don't go along with that TBE best ever stuff. No, and I say TBG. The best of his generation. Okay. For Floyd, yeah. And here comes another one that got cheated. American got cheated in the international competition, Roy Jones Jr. But he was fighting a South Korean in South Korea with a South Korean referee. And I just can't stop saying that in the Olympics, there are enough amateur referees where a referee and a fighter involved in the same fight should not be from the same country. And for the people that wasn't here yet, they had the Olympics in 1908 in London, where they had an English fighter fighting in a fight, and his father was the damn referee, right? And the other guy complained that the guy was getting preferential treatment. Of course, if I'm the referee, my son in the fight, I'm gonna give him preferential treatment. It just is what it is. So that should never happen. And I don't know how that guy's Olympic committee even allowed that to happen. They should have been protesting all over that. I bet you it wouldn't have happened to an American fighter. The guy was from Australia who they cheated. Or who the guy was fighting against, and his father was the referee. Okay? But an American fighter, the United States Olympic Committee would have been all over that. Man, they would have had to change referees. You knew it was other referees available? Had to be. He wasn't the only referee there. So how in the hell this Olympic committee let this guy's father referee that fight is crazy. That was their own fault, man. Anybody in the chat, if your son going for a gold medal, you the referee, ain't you gonna be biased towards your son in that fight if they let you referee? I'm gonna admit it, I am. I'm gonna cheat for my son. It is what it is. A gold medal. My son going for the gold medal. They better not let me referee it because he getting that gold medal. I'm gonna do what I got to do. So they should have just never let this man be the referee, man. They just shouldn't have. And then Roy Jones in '88, he was, like I said, he was fighting in South Korea against the South Korean with the South Korean referee. He should have had a wide decision. He lost, okay? Yeah, that was in '88. That was the same time when the South Korean guy thought he got cheated, and then he sat in the ring for like an hour and 7 minutes after the fight, wouldn't let no other fights take place. And some of his team and his people jumped in the ring and beat the referee up. The South Korean guy did when he got cheated. Yeah. And guess what? The guy that Roy was fighting, when the referee raised his hand, he stared at the referee with his mouth open in shock. He was even shocked that he won because he knew he got washed. You hear me? The guy that got the decision against Roy Trent looked at the referee mouth wide open in shock that he won the fight. And guess what? Roy Jones won the trophy for the outstanding boxer of that entire Olympics. So how did he not get the gold medal? He won the outstanding boxer of the Olympics. But those judges didn't think so. Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We got a couple more. And then the next one is Sugar Ray Leonard. Launched his career with a gold medal, 1976 Montreal. You know what happened to him? He wasn't even going to turn pro, remember? But he didn't get the endorsements he thought he was going to get from that gold medal because his girlfriend, and he had just had a 2-year-old son, she went to the jurisdiction and filed for child support. And then this jurisdiction sued Sugar Ray. You know, they named him as in a suit for, you know, him to pay them money. And all the papers picked it up. And she was right there with Sugar Ray at the Olympics and never told him. And when he got home, that's right, being boxing news. I'm the same way. You would have to knock my son out to get, you ain't getting no decision. Because I'm going to do everything I can to cheat. You know, they better not put me in there if my son going for the gold medal. But anyway, yeah, Sugar Ray's, when he got back, it was in the papers that gold medalist Sugar Ray Leonard named in paternity suit, and the endorsements didn't want that kind of negative publicity on their product. So he didn't get any endorsements. Plus, his mother had a heart attack and his father was in the hospital, so he had to turn pro. But and then Juanita was asked why she didn't tell him about it. She said she didn't want to bother him about money. But you take somebody downtown for child support, that jurisdiction gonna bother them about some money. So Juanita, you should have told him. But anyway, it was good for us fans because it caused Sugar Ray to turn pro. So thank you, Juanita. Anyway. But yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard, and it was a classic gold medal match because the guy, Sugar Ray, had won all his fights leading up to the gold medal match, 5-0 decisions. And the guy he was fighting from Cuba, Aldama, he had won all his decisions. He had won all his fights by knockout leading up to the gold medal match. So it was a classic. And then Sugar Ray ended up knocking him down a couple of times and getting another 5-0 decision from him and won the gold medal. Yeah. Now, Howard Davis wasn't the outstanding boxer for the Olympics. And he didn't pan out too good in the pros. He had like 30-something fights. Yeah. Everybody thought he was going to have the same type of career that Sugar Ray had, but Howard Davis, he didn't do all that good. One of them cases where a guy's real good in the amateurs and not so good in the pros. And like George Foreman, the opposite. George Foreman only had 18 amateur fights, and look what he did in the professionals. Plus, won the gold medal off 18 amateur fights. So just one of them things, And finally, Muhammad Ali launched his career. I remember he told that Russian reporter. The Russian reporter was asking Ali about, after he won the gold medal in Rome, he interviewed the Russian, asked him about segregation in the American South. But you know how it was that time, early 60s. And Ali told him, America is the greatest country in the world. He said, we got the greatest cars. And he said, we got good people working on their problem back home. And he said, got more places where I can eat, where I can't eat. It went something like that. I've seen the interview. I've Googled the interview. You can Google it. It was after his Olympics in Rome, 1960. But he linked into that Russian reporter for asking him that stuff. Yeah. And Ali won the gold in 1960. Joe Frazier won it in 64. Big George won it in 68. That was an incredible run. And then you know what happened after Ali turned pro? 4 years later, he became heavyweight champion, changed his name to Muhammad Ali, became a Muslim, and got stripped, stood out. And then, the classic situation with Big George, you know what I mean? Muhammad Ali. And that's it, boxing in the Olympics. Tomorrow is, now everybody want to show up. Okay. E-Class, what's happening? How are you today? Glad you could stop by. Everybody missed a great show. Tomorrow is we're gonna look at Pro Box, and tomorrow's Wednesday shows are a show that somebody in the chat suggested, remember? And this week is brought to you by Al Booger, and it's gonna be on judges criteria. We're even gonna look at a few judges and profile them. Look at, some of the big fights they've judged and all that. If I can find some bad decisions. I'm not going to have that lady Adelaide Bird, that's for sure, because she is terrible. Robert Bird, the referee's wife, she is a terrible judge, man. You can have a fighter in there, and one judge will have it 12-0. She'll have it 12-0 for the other fighter. She is just terrible. I don't even know if she's still judging. But yeah, she's pretty bad. That's tomorrow. And then Thursday is about women's boxing. That's some more ways talking about the men and all that. We're going to look at some women's boxing. And women's boxers. Look at their careers and stuff. And Friday, the profile is the Will of the West, Willie Pep. Another one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time. Okay? And arguably one of the greatest featherweights of all time, Willie Pep. Willie Pep had a story one time. He went into this attic in this speed store. They were in Connecticut or somewhere, and they told him this guy wanted to spar him, and they didn't know the guy's name, right? And when he got up there, it was Sugar Ray Robinson. Yeah, they tricked him into that, because he said if he had known it was Sugar Ray Robinson, he wouldn't even went up there. But yeah, it turned out to be Sugar Ray. Yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson. But we're going to talk more about him Friday. The situation with Sandy Sadler. Him and Sandy Sadler's fourth fight was one of the dirtiest fights in history. They went to the mat so much and grappling, and one time they took the referee to the mat with them. But then they became best of friends after their boxing careers. Yeah, you get there and beat a guy's brains out so many times like that, man. You get a respect for them. Yep, they became best of friends, Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. Yep. We're going to talk about all that Friday, but today is just Wednesday. We got a long way to go to that. Pro Box tomorrow. 5 fight cards this week, by the way. Pro Box tomorrow. We got a card Friday, and 3 Saturday. But I guess the big one is Jack Taylor and no, Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. No, I haven't seen it, Bruce. When did that come out? The new one. I'm gonna have to watch that. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bruce. Thank you so much. I am definitely going to check that out. Yeah, that might give me some information for Friday. Yeah, Bruce Gas always giving me good stuff, man. Yeah. Appreciate you, Bruce Gas. Yeah. Definitely gonna check that out. Thank you. And yeah, Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor. It's a shame how they treated that guy out of Undisputed. He should have been in the history books as one of the well, not few, it's like 19 of them now. It's 10 women and 9 men. And Jack Taylor should have been the 20th one. It should be 10 men and 10 women. That's 4 belt Undisputed, because he beat Josh Taylor in that fight. And they cheated. Plain and simple. Those judges weren't using the criteria that we're going to talk about tomorrow for sure. And then the bad thing this week is no belts, nothing on the line. No bragging rights. And they don't like each other, because I saw that I think it was a press conference. Josh Taylor put his hand around Jack Catterall's neck. Man. And you know, he had that, man, it wasn't fake, because you know how you get your thumb and that finger next to the thumb. You want to choke somebody, those are the fingers you use, man. And he had all that around Jack's neck, squeezing. And they had to get in between them. So that's going to be a very interesting fight. And it's Saturday coming up. Where's everybody been for the entire show? They're here now. Y'all missed it. Ain't my fault. But we got The Voice coming up in 5 minutes. Yeah. I saw a picture of it somewhere yesterday. Yeah, he was choking the shit out of him, man. They don't like each other. So they better have a good referee. That's all. Anybody know who refereeing that fight Saturday? They better have a good one, because they're going to go at it. I can't remember where that fight is at. Probably over that way, since they both from over there. Yeah. But don't forget tomorrow. Brought to you by Al Booger on judges. The criteria they supposed to use, because some of these judges, I don't know what they using. I saw a fight one time. Now, I know judges are not going to have the exact same decisions, but I think like one judge had it like 10-2 for one fighter, and then one judge had it like 9-3 for the other fighter. So how can 2 judges sit there supposed to be using the same criteria, watching the same fight, and judge it so differently? Now, I know they're not going to be exactly the same, but that different? Come on, man. So I don't know what they use. A lot of them, some of them using how much money they put in their pocket. That's because an Olympic judge was caught changing his card after a fight. Remember that one I told you about? The guy got cheated, so then they gave him a do-over, do the fight over, but he had got upset and went on an eating binge after the fight when he got cheated. And then in the do-over, he missed weight and got disqualified. Because see, in the amateurs Olympics, you don't get to miss weight and go back and run it off and try again. Once you miss weight, that's it. You're disqualified from the fight. You don't get a second chance in the amateur. Okay? And yeah, they was going to give him another do the fight over, and he had came back and missed weight and still lost by disqualification. Wasn't that crazy? Okay. But I appreciate everybody for stopping by. I don't know where everybody's been today. Steve Willis, yeah, be in boxing news. He's a good one. Him and that other guy, I like Thomas Taylor too. Steve Willis and Thomas Taylor are both no-nonsense referees, man. And they let you fight. They don't get up every time you touch each other and break you up and that kind of nonsense, you know? Yeah. And when they give an order, they mean it. Yeah, Steve Willis and Thomas Taylor. Yeah, Steve Willis is a good one. Is that who's doing that? Oh, you say need to be Steve Willis. Okay. Yeah, they need somebody like him. Yeah. I used to like Jack Reese until he did something recently that I didn't like at all. It was terrible. I can't remember what it was. It was just like a couple weeks ago too. In a big fight, he made a real bad decision. It'll come back to me, but like what's his name? Tony Weeks. I used to like him till after that Rolly Barroso fight. I think he cheated because I thought Tony Weeks was too good of a referee to make. But Ed made a good thing yesterday too because he had been in some with some guys like when Bottle Jack was all bloody like that. So yeah, he was kind of like what you call it, shell shocked or something, when he was being a little careful as a referee. Didn't somebody go into a coma after a fight? Tony Weeks didn't stop one time too, I think. So yeah, I can understand it. But yeah, I agree with that being boxing news. Steve Willis is good. Yeah, I seen Jack Reese do something recently, man, that just totally turned me against him. I can't remember what it was. Jason Steve wasn't Ray Charles. Okay, but I gotta get out of here now. It's time for the voice. But E-Class, excuse me, E-Class being boxing news, Lonnie Leak, hashtag JBT, Ant McQueen, J Hardcore, hashtag JBT, Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey, Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. BVO Boxing TV has made his return to Cast Sports. Welcome back, BVO Boxing TV. Let's talk fashion, aka Remo, hashtag JBT, Mike Masick, and Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Appreciate everybody. Tomorrow is damn, I forgot already. Oh, judges. The judges show. Judging criteria that they supposed to use. I don't say they use, supposed to use, because all of them don't use it. That's tomorrow. Brought to you by Al Burger. And that's it. It's time for the voice now. Let's go watch him, listen to him build. Everybody have a great day. Cast Sports. Showtime, the guy. PASS. What's up, Showtime? How are you today? Okay, I'm gone for real, everybody. Have a good one.